Hi, welcome to Losing Weight with Elizabeth. I'm Elizabeth, I'm your hostess tonight, and we're talking about journaling or tracking your food intake. And the biggest lie I tell myself, and don't say it's not true, is that I'll remember.
No.
Never ever do I remember. In fact, it was so funny yesterday because I was like saying to myself, oh my goodness, I only had 1,500 calories today, and I kind of really have to watch it because I just got back from vacation. So I really do have to watch it. And before I fell asleep, it was already 2,100 calories. 600 calories I completely forgot about. Now, if I forgot about 600 calories, what other calories did I forget about? Right?
Yeah.
So I think we have to start thinking about it. So let's start with 10 reasons to keep a weight loss journal. One, it helps you plan your meals. That is so true. And one of the ways that it really helped me plan my meals, and I'm sure we'll get into this even more as the show goes on, but if I have a good week, wouldn't it be great if I could go back and repeat a week?
That's true.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's true.
So true. And when
No.
you can do that, which that means you have a shopping list, you know what you're going to make, you've planned and prepared, you're all set. Like, it's easy to do it that way. And you must have at least liked what you were making,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So, and listen, this week would have been such a good week because I ate enough spaghetti squash to feed an army, and it's so low in calories. But that's what it does. It helps you plan out your meals for the future. And you know what another woman does that I really love? What she'll do is she will know what she's going to eat that day, write it all out. It only takes like 3 minutes. Don't tell me you don't have time to do it. The only reason you don't do it is, why do you think?
Laziness.
Lazy.
Well, we'd like to say lazy, but you don't want to know. It's really, we don't want to know. I don't want to put down that I had ice cream. I don't want to know that that was 500 calories worth of ice cream. That's the reason I don't do it. I mean, I have many, many, many journals, but you know, when I'm not doing well, it's simply because I just don't want to know. And what is key? Awareness is key to weight loss. There's no other way around it. So when you have a journal, you can actually have a whole week. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's so hard to plan and prepare." Everyone in these books lost all their weight, kept all their weight off, and their journals are in here. So you have a whole whole day that you could do 7 days right out of the book. And, not even have to think about planning and preparing. Is there anything what other things do you think a journal is good for beside writing down your calories and
Being aware, I guess.
Yeah, I think being aware, of course, is really
Yeah.
important. But you know what? We were talking last week, and one of the girls was saying she was having trouble, stomach problems. So, and she keeps a journal. And as the journal goes on, she realizes on the days that she eats certain things, she has problems with her stomach. So it makes such a big difference that now she knows not to do it that way. Also, times and how much she eats. You know, because for me, I have to keep all of my calories. I have to have the lightest little breakfast and the lightest little lunch so that all my calories can be after 5 o'clock. That's the way I am. I learned from all the journals. That's the way it goes. And I need my weekends to be just a little freer. I mean, I lost 93 pounds exactly that way, eating all my calories after 5 o'clock generally. I mean, I was, you know, having healthy food during the day, but, you know, not a lot of healthy food. More vegetables, more fruit, and then saving my calories for after 5 o'clock. And then on the weekends, I would just write party on Friday and Saturday. I wouldn't even try to kid myself. But that's why it took me 3 years to lose the weight. I mean, there's no way around it. You know, if you want to go the slow way like I did, that's how it's going to work. But you're still going to lose the weight.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I told you in a year from now you'd be 30 pounds thinner, wouldn't you be thrilled?
Sure.
And doing it the way I just told you, having all your calories after 5 o'clock and whatever you wanted on the weekends, please, it was a nightmare of bad food. So, but it was because I was so healthy during the week. But still, it's only 0.6 a week. I say only, but I don't mean that. That's a little over a half a pound a week.
Right.
That's how I lost my weight. So it's slow weight loss.
But you kept it off.
But
so
I
that's
kept it
Yeah.
off
what's important.
because you can't lose weight one way and keep it off another.
Right.
And I knew there was no way the weekends weren't going to be, you know, I was going to go out. I was going to have a few drinks. I was going to probably have something that wasn't good for me. But as time went on, I started realizing that things that weren't good for me didn't make me feel good. So I found places where I could go where they made healthier foods that I actually like. I mean, it's not like I'm not going to have a cheeseburger and french fries or a fish fry occasionally, you know, or a cake. Although last night we were at a networking event for the Chamber of Commerce, and they had cupcakes from a bakery there, all these little cupcakes, and I went to look at the cupcakes, and then I thought to myself, what does sugar make me feel like?
Mm.
It doesn't make me
Yeah.
feel good. And for that one cupcake, which was, you know, they were little cupcakes, but they were still about 140 calories. And I thought for that one little cupcake, for, you know, 3 bites, that's not really worth it to me to then have all that sugar going on. So that's it. Okay, so now number 2, helps you estimate your calorie intake. Now, after a while, you'll know your calories. I can tell you, you could text me anytime and I know exactly how many calories it is. If you say I had 3/4 of a cup of this, I'll probably know how many calories it is. Because after a while, it becomes second nature. But the other thing is, on your computer, if you have a 6-ounce sirloin steak, you put calories, 6-ounce sirloin steak. It's the first thing that will come up.
Right.
You can find it in seconds. Plus, there's a zillion calorie books.
Okay.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, but you don't even need those. You don't even need a calorie book because you can easily find it right online. So that's really a good thing that I find. It helps you see your eating patterns. Yeah, that works so, thank goodness. It was so hard for me to actually accept that that's the way I was going to lose weight. I wasn't very pleasant because nobody wants to lose weight slow. But it does change your eating habits slowly. So if you change your eating habits slowly, you get used to it. And it was touch and go there for me to see that that's the way my patterns are. Have you learned anything from your patterns from, journaling?
Yeah, I think more portion control, by putting down. I mean, I told you, like, when I have a snack now, I just bring like a little bowl in the living room rather than to take the whole box. I don't do that anymore.
Oh, I know.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's and I'm satisfied with it once it's gone. Then I get to the point where if I really feel like I really want to eat, I just go to bed. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, that's,
That's a good
that's
idea.
hilarious.
And I never get out of bed to eat. You know, I mean, maybe some people do, but once I'm in bed,
Oh, you
That's-
don't even know how many people get out of bed at
No.
3 o'clock in the morning and
no,
go
I
into
never
the
do
kitchen.
that. I never do
And I'm
that.
not talking about when you're taking an Ambien. You ever hear those stories?
Yeah.
No.
They're taking a sleeping pill. They don't know it. They go down in their kitchen. They have a full-on meal or whatever, thing of ice cream, cookies, and then they wake up in the morning and the kitchen is a mess.
Oh my.
And they're like, "Who did this?" You know, and there's chocolate on their face. I mean, and you're not, you know, those sleeping. If you are so out of it
Oh,
that
wow.
you can go and eat without even knowing it,
Yeah, that's bad.
what
That
else
is
can
bad.
you do? Isn't it?
Yes.
I would think that would not be a good plan right
No.
there. Just not knowing it. So, I think we have to start to think about that. You know, that when we know our eating patterns and we're well aware of them, like what you did, you realize that if you took the box in or
Yeah.
the bag,
Yeah, it's
you're not going to stop with
No.
just a serving.
no,
Who could do that?
right.
I could never do that.
No.
But you taught me that. I've actually learned that from you. And anything ever? Have you ever tried journaling?
Yeah, journaling helps me, which I really need to do it more, but journaling helps me because I find myself sneaking an extra piece of cheese into something
Yeah.
or taking a little extra something into my meals, and then I wonder why I didn't lose weight that week. Then when I look at my journal, I realize, oh, well, there was an extra 100 calories here, an extra, and then you
Yeah.
put the pieces together.
And you know what? If you're willing to accept that and not beat yourself up. See, this is the problem with weight loss. When you don't do well, then you beat yourself half to death over it. I mean, really, guilt and weight loss, they do not go hand in hand.
Right.
All guilt does is cause you more trouble. Because if you think for 1 second that guilt is going to help you, no one had never helped me. Never. You are not a bad person because you overeat. That's not what a bad person is. But a lot of people say, oh, I'm so weak, I'm so this, I'm so that. They beat themselves up so terribly. If someone talked to you the way you talk to yourself, ooh.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to speak to that person ever again.
You would never speak to that person again, would you? So I think that's what's really that's what makes it different about understanding the patterns that you have. Like some people like a real hearty breakfast. That's not the meal I can eat heartily. If that was the breakfast, then that would be fine. But I cannot eat that big breakfast. And I don't really have time to sit down and have lunch and then, lull around after a big lunch. Because, if you have a big lunch, you're a little tired after it. We're not living in Italy. We don't get to take a nap.
Right, that's true.
Right? We have to go right back to work after our hour break or half hour break. So I think knowing your patterns is really a good thing. That was a good thing for me. Have you know? And so when you were saying about your being aware, it's that extra pork chop. If I didn't have that, if I didn't have that extra piece of cheese, and you know what? Let's just say something. Let me say something about cheese. If you're going to have cheese, please buy good cheese. Don't buy the plastic cheese.
Right.
Buy real cheese.
Right.
Because you will be so super. Calories are the same. The chemicals are not.
Right.
Right? If you buy farmer's cheese, from farms in the area, you will be so satisfied with such a small amount. It's amazing. Yeah, we went to a restaurant, you know the story, we went to a restaurant and I like to have a little something to go with our glass of wine before
Mhm.
the dinner. And they had a local cheese platter, and it had local relishes and stuff like that. And there were little tiny bits of cheese, honestly, very little, with a little fig relish and a little olive tapenade, but very, very little. And there were three of us, and we looked at that plate like, oh, that would be just for me. Now, one of the three of us thought that that was okay for all of us. We did not finish that cheese platter because the
Ah.
cheese was so rich and so delicious that you were see, when you eat really good food, you're more likely to be satisfied.
That's true.
It's
That
really
is true.
So if you're going to buy cheese and it's $1.99 for a pound of it, it's no good. Go to your local farmer, go to a farmer's market and get some of their real cheese. You'll be more than satisfied. Really, really nice. And you know, I had some local cheese. I went to a restaurant and they specialize in local products, and they brought out to our table just 4 cucumber slices with some mustard seed cheddar local cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little smear of it on there, and on a little balsamic vinegar reduction. This couldn't have been hardly any calories, right? What a delicious treat.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds
So-
good.
It's not like the cheese has to go on a cracker.
Right.
You'd be really surprised. Okay. It shows what you eat and drink. And when you do a journal, it does show what you eat and drink. And that stopped me from having pina coladas. That was the end of my pina colada era. Because they're 500 calories. They're just not really worth it. I'd rather just make a fruit smoothie and forget the alcohol in it.
Mhm.
Before I go and I have a pina colada, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And I found that, I found the other thing that I'm starting to really like is a wine spritzer. I know you shouldn't, I don't know, people we're wine snobs. You shouldn't put club soda in your wine, but I put club soda and lime in that crisp white wine I was telling you
Yeah.
about. First of all, it tastes delicious in the warmer weather. It's very low in calories. Now you've gone from 100 calories for 5 ounces, say, to 50 calories. Or you could have 10 ounces of wine and fill the glass all the way up with club soda and lime, you know what I mean? And then it would be 100 calories. It would just be, it's so much more reasonable for you to do it that way. And it's refreshing.
Mhm.
So that was one of the things, because I was drinking also espresso martinis. My husband always says that I find it very amusing. Oh, good, an alert drunk. He didn't say that about me, but he always says, so what is in that? And I was like, vodka, Kahlua, espresso, and he would go, oh, great. But they're loaded with calories.
Yeah.
Loaded. So actually learning about what I was drinking was just as important as learning about what I was eating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
That
true.
was pretty important. If you write down what exercise you do, you can always say to yourself, I burned 300 calories on the elliptical or on the treadmill or whatever. Like, you could always do that. But I never count those calories. You should never count your exercise calories, as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned. Let's look at that as just a little something extra.
Yeah.
But you should write down. Let's say you said you took a walk last night. Do you know how far you went?
A mile.
Okay, so you knew you walked a mile. So that would go right in your journal. So that when in 3 weeks, maybe you walk a mile and a quarter, you can see progress.
Right.
When you see progress, that's what pushes you forward. Progress pushes you forward.
Right.
Seems a little redundant to me, but nevertheless, that's exactly what it does. I remember when I would write down, I mean, I have a real routine now, so it's not, I don't really have to write that down, and since I don't count it as calories, I'm not concerned. But I know that I burn like 300 or 400 calories. However, I did have a little machine that I put on my waist that told me how many calories I burned in an aerobics class. 76 calories in an hour aerobics class.
That's all.
That's what it said.
Oh,
I was like, no, sir.
Oh,
that
that's discouraging.
that is.
Yeah, but you see, that's where people think they think that's discouraging, but really, you may have burned just the 76 calories in that hour. Let's say that's the truth. I don't know if it is or isn't. You know, these things we don't know for sure. I mean, you really have to be hooked up with a doctor, and
Yeah.
everything else would have to be going on. But what it really does when you work out is burn calories all day. So that mile that you walked, that kept burning calories long after you stopped. That's the reason why you want to work out. Plus, it's terrifically great for your head. So that's it. It makes your goals more realistic if you keep a journal. Because you know, every week when you come here, you should bring your journal with you, and then we can write in how much you lost, how much you gained, whatever the deal was. And that is very, very, that's so good to know that. Because let's say you know it wasn't a healthy week. Why wasn't it healthy? You know, we all had diaries when we were younger. I mean, and a lot of people don't have, now it's on Facebook.
Yeah,
right.
Right, isn't it? I know, I really. But we had diaries and we would write our innermost thoughts. Well, this is a place to put that, because if you're having a bad day, I mean a bad day not about health, you know, eating wise, but you're having a bad day and you write it that this was, you know, not good, then you know, let's see if we can't just see why that happened. What caused that problem? Maybe we can avoid it the next time, because you know what? Food is never going to fix any problem but hunger.
Yes.
So, right. So it keeps you on track. There's no doubt about that, because there's nothing like having to write down that you had 2,500 calories in a day. Nothing will slow you down faster.
Right.
It keeps you accountable. Oh boy, does that keep you accountable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because just like the box of, all of a sudden, when you're reaching into that box,
Yeah, right.
and it's empty, and it was a full box, then you look, then you say to yourself, oh, I have to put that in my journal, and then you look and it says 7 crackers, 140 calories. How many servings in the box? 4,000. No, but there's probably 10 servings in the box.
Yeah.
Because it could easily
Yeah.
be 1,400 calories, and you wouldn't know. I used to do a sleeve of Ritz crackers every single time till I figured out the calories.
Yeah.
So it really helped me just be so accountable. And now I just take the 7 because I can't give up Ritz crackers. They're just my favorite. It's just the way it is. And remember, you can't lose weight one way and keep it off another. So unless I'm giving up Ritz crackers for the rest of my life, or pizza, or tacos, or whatever your heart's desire, you know, everybody has their own. You, I know, is Big Ziti, right?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
any pasta dish.
Yeah.
That's my downfall.
That's yeah. So there you go. So it helps you keep track of your progress by writing in the weight that you've lost. And here's the best part. It keeps you motivated.
It does.
If you know, if you really look at your journal and you decide to really pay attention to it, you are really surprised by how well you do when you actually pay attention. And so this week, I think it would be wise for all of us here to get our journals out. You could go to the dollar store. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Write in how you were feeling when especially when you overate. How were you feeling? What happened? And so that this way you can, that's where you find out what feelings in eating. So there's one way. And then you can also, how did that week go? Did you lose weight? Was it a good week? Did you find a new recipe? There are so many different ways to do it. So let's just plan out our meals, write down our calories, check out our eating patterns, watch what we eat and drink, see how many calories we burn, and make our goals come true. And we can make our goals come true if you just do this one thing. Your awareness will help you lose the weight you want to. So have a healthy week, and I'll see you next week. I swear, I am going right home to write in my journal.
I know.
That was good.
Yeah, we need to keep a journal.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to try to work on, which I really didn't.